Whoa, we are making a video. Try a new location, I believe. Anyway, Modern Mystic. Disappointing. This is one of the most profoundly disappointing videos that he's made. Um, in the sense that he, and shit. Um, uh, that. So he basically said something like, um, uh, if he could change the world, like take the $2 trillion the 100 richest people own, and change it, move it, migrate it into some other hands or something. Couldn't be bothered. It's just fine the way it works now. He would just, if anything, he would just create a mechanism where they could loan it to more of the world. Um, that's all the world needs is more debt. Debt is good. That's, fundamentally, he thinks that's rational. Um, and it's just such a monstrosity to the concept that's really, there's some value in this idea of what incentivizes action, and the real value is in us being able to get as much work out of each other as possible. I mean, to get to progress, the sooner we get there the better, is the theory here, is to give us some motivation and give us the vehicle to run as many races as possible, to really just to get more out of ourselves, to spend our time doing something that has constructive value. Just like you can watch two kinds of TV shows. You could watch crap, okay, just Teletubbies, porridge, or you could watch something edifying that makes you a more capable and competent person. These are your two choices. Uh, so just to rag on him a little bit, I mean, it's so irritating. I'm just going to throw this in just for the fun of it, just to point out that he misses just basic logic sometimes. And so he was doing, on his gardening video, he was showing how to grow bacteria, and he's got his own little invented piece of crap to do that with, that aerator. And it's just such an inefficient aerator. I mean, it's a big pump pumping a ton of air in gigantic bubbles that are totally useless to the purpose. The whole purpose is to create oxygen that's accessible to the bacteria, and big giant bubbles they don't put oxygen into the water. Little bubbles do that. More surface area. Durr. Yeah, so you want to create as much surface area as possible. And, not you again. Oh, damn. Yeah, I really don't want to waste my time with a stupid cat. Well, not very intelligent cat. Anyway, sun's behind me. So I probably should change this position anyway. Yes, good, I scared him. Hop over there. Yeah, I'll do the video from with the background being my soon-to-be marvelous garden, hopefully, maybe. Oh, that's probably better. Anyway, or maybe this angle's better. But then this cat, anyway. So, so where was I? Oh, yeah, oxygen. So anyway, yeah, so you get an aquarium pump. It runs in like 2 watts of electricity. And it creates a zillion little tiny bubbles, and yeah, that's the way to do it. So anyway, yeah, so you have to understand the theory. You have to understand what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish. This whole economy thing comes down to what are you trying to accomplish? Well, you're just trying to get people to be productive. You're trying to give them the mechanism to be as productive as possible, which generally speaking is going to be large-scale production, not small-scale production. There's huge efficiencies to be gained in mass production. It's not a bad word, it's a good word. It's just the corporations have turned it into a bad word. Owners have turned it into a bad fucking word. And he just doesn't get it. The owners are lousy deciders, okay? You could let this fucking cat, okay, step on buttons to decide what gets invested in, and he'll make better decisions than Mr. Rich motherfucking cunt small print money bags. And the idea that he thinks we're all better off giving the money to the fucking king and letting the kings decide for us what's going to get invested in, how we're going to live, and all this kind of crap. And to do it in with this idea that we pay perpetual rent, He doesn't even get the idea that, you know, it'd be a lot better if people owned these houses than rented these houses. The houses would get cared for better. People would live better lives in better neighborhoods if they own their fucking houses. That's just a fact of life. So at minimum, you could say, well, maybe we should spend the $2 trillion on subsidizing home ownership. Because you'd make better human beings that way. Or something. I mean, the fact that he could come up with no idea, no infrastructure idea, $2 trillion. It's a ton of money, trust me. You know, lots of Hoover dams, lots of huge infrastructure that could be developed with that money. But no, he thinks we should put people in perpetual indebtedness. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Or charge them twice as much. So, I mean, he didn't even come up with the idea, well, let's take the $2 trillion and put it in an investment, a non-for-profit investment corporation that allows people to loan money for cost. You know, just the cost of interest and the cost of loan failure. He didn't even suggest that. So he applied no imagination. He applies just no. He just gives up entirely. He just does it because this is the way it was drawn in a book or something. Okay, so he goes and steals basically some other idiot's idea, which is, you know, some rich idiot, no doubt, and says, "Oh yeah, rich people are good. They make jobs. yeah, they make something. They make a mess. Is all they fucking do." And you know, so I didn't want to make an angry video, but it's just such an obnoxiously lazy, stupid video to make, to sit there and say, oh, I can think of nothing better to do with $2 trillion than go find some rich cunt that fell out of a vagina and give him the money and let him decide what it gets invested in. And yes, he'll take a huge cut for himself, build lots of extravagant nonsense in the world, buy maybe a condo in China that no one lives in, buy some paintings for preposterously idiotic, well, that's pretty harmless actually. So we won't even get into that, because that doesn't cause a bunch of unnecessary work. You know, that's just an insult to art. You know, to monetize it that way. But yeah, no, maybe he likes sports. So yeah, we'll build some huge sports stadiums and, you know, invest in just absolute rubbish and nonsense and tell us that he's doing us a favor. I mean, just so fucking ignorant, stupid, lazy, you know, not to understand that there's a fundamental mechanism to the economy. There's two things we are. We're consumers and we're producers. And the idea is to make us efficient consumers, and the idea is to make us efficient producers. It's really that fucking goddamn simple. And to think that stupid, greedy assholes are going to do that the best, that they're the best option we have available, is to put it in the hands of greedy motherfuckers. I mean, he couldn't even suggest that we spend the $2 trillion to maybe produce propaganda to get the tax rates put back where they were in 1970, where the world was functioning a hell of a lot better than it is now, at least for the working man. He couldn't even suggest that. He just sat there with this blank look on his face saying, gee, I can think of no way to do it any better than some rich, selfish cunt looking out for his own fucking interests. I mean, I'm aghast. yeah, that's what I am. I'm aghast. Just pitiful. So, yeah, the mystic is thoroughly jumping the shark in terms of me having any respect for his capacity to, you know, logically dissect systems and mechanisms and understand the efficiency of straight lines and, you know, getting to the you know, the real value. No, I don't really want to do the you sit on my lap and I pet you thing. We'll do that later, okay, buddy? Promise and such. Yeah, promise. I'm trying to make a video now. It's awful shitty at the moment, too. Well, whatever. He doesn't have any other friends, mostly. So, you know, it's always been like that. I've always had these clingers, you know. Yeah. Be my friend. I'm trying, you know, but damn. I just can't pet you every day. Or something like that. So anyway, sorry. Like I said, I really there's no point in getting angry or frustrated. You know, people are stupid, and they're just going to remain stupid. They're just going to remain stupid, you know, silly little, you know, whatever that is, whatever the sycophants to, you know, the heroic and what, you know, the great heroes of you know, falling out of the golden vagina. Wow, yeah, that's such a great thing, man. Those are such great people, those fall out of the vaginas. You know, man, I wish I could be one of those fall out of the golden vagina. You know, it's just pitiful. So still waiting on my petunias. These, you know, these are getting, I'm not hating them as much as I did before. The color really isn't terrible. This one looks like it's going to be purpley. I like the purpley kind. Still waiting though, and such. I gotta find a better way to, somewhere else to place the battery for this camera. I have it tied to an external battery that I can recharge, which is good. But, you know, if I move it around, I might disconnect it, and you know, then it won't work, and then I'll lose the video. Then I would have rented for nothing, essentially. Are these caterpillars that show up here on these hibiscuses? Is they do all this little leaf damage, so you have to kind of look for them when they're young and give them a little squish. Yeah, they don't appear to be visible here. They must be really small. Can't even see them, they're so small, kind of thing. Yeesh. So not big enough for swishing. Oh, here's some. See there, you can see these little fluorescent green things. Yeesh. Little fly does it. I paid attention this year. I have been paying more attention this year to things. So I saw the flies earlier this spring. Well, earlier when these were coming up. And I said, those must be the little trickies that are laying the caterpillars. Yeah, there's one there. They're usually on the back side of the leaves, so I guess I guess in the morning they're on the front side of the leaves, and then tell me when the sun comes out they have to hide. So anyway, but yeah, if you don't check them a little, they really can make a horrible mess. And who needs a horrible mess? Yeah. Kitty. Is it time yet? Is it time? Is it time? Meow. Are my ears wrapped? Meow. Meow. Oh, anyway, sorry. I do get kind of lost in the process. So, anyway. Should have blueberries over here pretty soon. Yeah, it's blueberrying. They're blueberrying nicely. Birds will probably eat them all, though. Put more nets on it or something. So let's see what else is news. Not much happening. I caught that net in the lawnmower yesterday, so that was a disaster. Chewed it all to pieces. That's this netting's kind of fine, which is nice visually. You know, it makes it better because you can't see it. It's not quite as much of an eyesore, so you can sort of enjoy the flowers a little bit. But it being so fine, it easily gets caught in things. And that just makes a horrible mess. And the cat runs through it, of course. They chase each other and then they run through the net. You know. Yeah, I know it doesn't sound like that's, you know. Well, maybe it does sound like that's, oh, that's horrible, Gary. How do you endure? How do you persevere through this horrible trial? Oh, I do manage, but it is tough. Yeah, this one's got holes in it. Well, all of it's got holes in it, but it's all used netting. I got from a refuse pile. So I don't buy such things. I'm cheap. Anyway, I think that's enough. Looks like it's going to be another great day, and I have to cut a ton of more grass and a few other chores, but it's not raining, the sun is out. Yeah, things would be pretty good if everybody on this planet wasn't a complete asshole. Slug really, yeah, see what it made a mess there. Just ate the whole frickin' plant. I'll do something about them too. Ooh, that rose is actually kind of nice. Yeah, it really is kind of nice. Shockingly colored. Oh, he is quite, yeah, pretty nice. Anyway, till next time and such. Wow, this netting's got a big hole in it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do something about that. Steers are clever bastards. You have to tie those two together. Yeah. Okay, remember to do that later. Remind me to do that later. Because look, there was a deer right here. Ate that right off, so it was right here, and all I had to do was... They did over there. I mean, I'll show you. You know, really, like, we have a, you know, this is a pretty excellent cage. You know, we have one over here for the tomato plants. You know, it's a pretty good cage, right? Netting all the way around. You know, goes to both sides, pretty good. You know, deer got in, took the tops off all of them. Right down the road, took the tops right off. And, you know, the only thing you can figure is there was a little hole between the fence over there, so I ran some wire through it to close it up. As you can see, a big hole in the ground there, like it jumped. But it just seems bizarre. One little hole, it would figure that out. Bastards. But, you know, the plants were doing so well. You know, just, yeah, it's kind of discouraging. Yeah, that's what it is, discouraging. There's that flower sometime. Oh yeah, that's that stupid, this thing. Deers don't tend to eat this bush too much, but they can tend to have some nice little flowers, but sometimes they just eat the flowers off, so it doesn't work out either. It really is, it's really is an obnoxious way to garden. Look at this netting is, you know, this is the heavy stuff, so I gotta put the other stuff here. So it just looks like hell. Big blob of crap over my flowers. There's no way to live, mostly. Anyway, it really is just so charming here. Oh, God. I mean, look at this. This is, yeah, I am really so very lucky. I mean, I just can't explain to you how the blight that was over there next door just ruined all of this. This was just nothing because of them. And now it's something again. It's like a wonderland. Anyway. Yeah. So, didn't take that poison ivy off now. Yeah. Somebody needs to do. So few me's to do it. So until next time. Anything else to report? Oh yeah, I can't do direct uploads on YouTube. I don't know if anybody knows why. I guess YouTube's just fucking things up for the hell of it. But, yeah, it's kind of irritating. I got a message that says something, you are not allowed to upload videos at this time. Something like that. What the hell does that mean? I don't have any strikes or anything, so, I don't know. Anyway, till next time. Such, so forth, whatnot.